Hey Sagittarius, how's it going? I got some oracle messages for you here today. Before I turned on the camera, when I was meditating, I saw you and your hands turned into long, sharp blades, like in Terminator 2. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but it's like liquid metal that forms into blades. And you cut through a chain link fence that was in this grassy space, this grassy field. And you ran through and you got into this big, it looked like a corporate chemistry lab, or like some type of chemistry lab. And you were the only one there. And you mixed some chemicals up together in a beaker, and you looked really pleased. You like looked up at the result and looked very, very pleased with what you had just created. And I tried to find out like what chemicals you used and what you were going to use it for, but the oracle was like, no, that's not for you to know. It's not for me to know, but it's just for you to know, Sagittarius. And yeah, your hands went back to normal after you cut the chain link fence. And then I pulled an itching hexagram for you, and we got 17, following. That's lake over thunder. So lake is a symbol of joyousness, and thunder is a symbol of movement. So here we have moving with joyfulness, moving with joy. And this has the idea of like the strong following the weak. Thunder represents the eldest son in the I Ching tradition, and lake represents the youngest daughter. And here we have the youngest daughter above the eldest son, which means the strong is following the weak, the firm is following the yielding, the mighty is following the gentle. And in doing so, a true leader learns how to be led. You know, all true leaders are in fact followers, because a leader who doesn't follow someone or something great is really not a leader at all. What are they guided by? A great leader has a principle, a tradition, some great idea, perhaps not even their own idea, some good direction that they are following. You know, those who follow God tend to attract many followers to themselves. Those who follow a good, tried and true tradition tend to attract many followers themselves. So a great leader is a follower. And in following, we become leaders. We prove that we are capable leaders. And it's the only way to attract sincere and honest followers. However, it's also a way to attract opportunists and speculators. They will obviously see the opportunities and speculate on your success and will follow you accordingly. And so looking out for such people at this time is important. And, you know, not being led astray, like having a really good direction and something really good to follow at this time is very important. And it might be something that doesn't seem so obvious or profound. It could just be something, maybe there's an idea from some past person that you admire. Maybe this person isn't around anymore. Maybe this is like an old idea from an old time, and it's inspiring you to act in a certain way. And, you know, choosing something worthy to follow, not blindly following it, because this following has a double layer. It's understanding the situation and following what is appropriate for the situation. So that means not blindly following something, even an oracle. You know, following here in the I Ching comes with an example of a woman who consulted the I Ching to determine whether or not it would be a good time for her to get married. And this hexagram showed up, following. And the diviner said, oh, it's great. This is one of the most auspicious hexagrams. It would be an excellent time to get married. This hexagram has all 4 virtues, you know, honesty and humbleness, righteousness and steadfastness. And the woman replied, well, I don't have any of those 4 virtues, so I'm not going to do it right now. I have to wait for another opportunity, and I have to develop those 4 virtues first. So she didn't blindly follow the oracle. She saw that it would be auspicious to marry, but decided, she looked at her own situation with honesty and followed what was appropriate for the situation and didn't follow the oracle. So determining what is appropriate to follow is very important right now, and not following blindly. But here, with trying to tie it into what I saw during my meditation, is following your gut, following an idea that you know will be successful, that you have a pretty good feeling about. Some innovation, some interesting idea. Because, you cut through this chain link fence, and you basically broke and entered onto private property. So I'm not suggesting you do anything illegal, but it felt as though you belonged in this laboratory. Like you were at home there. You knew what you were doing. You knew where you were going. You knew, exactly what was going on and how to perform the task you wanted to perform, mixing those chemicals together in this case. And so it seems like you may have been exiled or barred or restricted from a place where you belong. This could be actual, literal, geographic. It could be a place within your being, within your mind, within your soul that you've been cast out from. It could be anything like that, a research group or a friend group, I don't know, a social club or something. But it's a place where you belong. You know what's up. You're good there. And through the hands symbolize will and willpower, your volition, and they transformed into those swords. So you can get back into this place. You can end your own exile, essentially, and by sheer force of will, by sheer willpower. It's like on your end, like the ball is in your court, and you can re-enter this restricted area as you please, essentially. Like it was just a chain link fence, and like your will was stronger than the thing which keeps you out. It was stronger than the boundary. Your will can easily cut through whatever this boundary is. And you probably need to follow this instinct where you know you can do some good. Like this place you've been restricted from kind of would benefit from your presence, would benefit from your innovative and creative thinking at this time. And I think if you do it with a sense of joyfulness and humility, whoever barred you or whatever the circumstances were that restricted you will probably be forgiven. They'll probably understand what's going on. Of course, as long as it's not like some super serious thing. Like I'm not suggesting that you cut through chain link fences on private property. This is an analogy that perhaps I'm stretching too far. But, follow your gut and try and understand how this could fit. Don't force it to fit, but I feel like there's an area, even within your psyche, that for some reason you feel like you're not allowed to go there. But I think you're about to work up some courage and go there. This could be like a type of shadow work that you've been putting off, or a type of spiritual or psychological exploration that you've been putting off. And something's gonna like excite you and give you enthusiasm to go down that road and to explore it and to, use your knowledge of alchemy and transform something that's gonna be beneficial for you and probably for others as well. So I'm gonna develop this reading further. I'm gonna pull some cards for you now, Sagittarius. Let's see here. What does Sagittarius need to know? All right, so this coin here landed on the symbol for Anael, which is the angelic name for the planetary spirit of Venus. Some call her Aphrodite. She has many names. But if you know about Venusian symbolism, it has everything to do with that. This is expression. This is emotionality, this is love, this is unity, this is the womb of creation, the feminine aspects of reality. Yeah, it's associated with the metal copper. We're thinking about chemistry here, so maybe there's something to do with copper. Things that turn green when they oxidize, or maybe just that lovely bluish, teal, greenish color. Maybe there's something there. Maybe you can work with that color. Gemstones that have that color, clothing that has that color, paints, maybe some color therapy with a rusted copper color. Or non-rusted copper, that beautiful bronzish, golden orangish color might be helpful at this time. Just saturating your space with some color like that. Yeah, let's see here. And yeah, it's joyfulness, right? Anael, joyfulness. Venus. The Six of Wands. Here it says victory. And it's really funny because on the Tree of Life, according to the Kabbalah, the Sephiroth, or the sphere of Venus, which in the Hebrew tongue is called Netzach, in the English tongue it is called victory. The Venusian sphere is known as victory. And here it says victory. This is a card of victory. So having some form of emotional victory at this time, or a victory in a relationship, doesn't have to be romantic, although it can be. It can just be in your social sphere or in your work sphere, or with a part of yourself, within your family maybe. But there's some sort of overcoming a problem through the proper modulation of emotions. And I think cultivating a sense of joyfulness while acting in humility will smooth over some issue, will solve a problem, open some doors for you at this time. I think when victory and Anael come out together, that's extraordinarily powerful. It's the first big step on the right-hand path of spiritual ascent. On the Tree of Life, when we climb the Tree of Life, there's the right-handed path, the left-handed path, and the middle path. And the right-handed path is the more graceful, joyful, merciful path of spiritual advancement. And operating with that foundation of the sphere of Venus can be extraordinarily helpful. Also considering it is the first big step on the right-handed path. I think if you are exploring right-handed spiritual practices like bhakti yoga or devotional practices, sort of Venusian Jupiterian kind of ideas, and you'll have a great time with it. You'll achieve a lot of inner progress. Maybe this is that door that you need to choose to go down, or the door that you choose to open, or that place that maybe you've been reluctant to go, or that you've been barred from, is following the path through the sphere of Venus and Jupiter up on the right-handed path there. And the connection between where we are here on so-called Malkuth, or the physical world, and the sphere of Venus is connected by a path symbolized by the tarot card of the moon. And digging deep within ourselves, within our subconscious, and understanding our emotional triggers and the origins of our emotions is very important. There are meditations we can do where we feel an emotion and we allow it to exist, and we do our best to bring attention to it. As soon as we feel the emotion, and this could be like in our everyday life, as long as we have the time to do it. It can be difficult to do it when we're busy. But when an emotion comes up, the first step is to notice that the emotion came up. Don't try to change it or anything, just be aware of it. And then sit with it and try and find out where within yourself this emotion originates. And this takes time and many iterations of following the same emotion and just trying to examine it. Put your awareness on the emotion itself, and in examining it, how it feels, what part of your body is activated? Is there blood flow to your ears or to your fingertips or to your stomach? Do you feel butterflies in your stomach? Do you feel a knot in your throat? Do you feel, is your heart rate increasing or decreasing? Is there a sensation of heat in your belly or in your feet or something? Like, you know, pay attention to the bodily sensations that come along with the emotional sensation. And from there you can go even deeper and understanding the texture of the emotion itself, and you can begin to feel it within your astral body. So beyond the physical body, you can begin to feel it within the astral body, and you can become more aware of your astral body that way. And the astral body is kind of where our instincts, like our basic animal nature, our instincts and our emotions originate. And understanding our astral body is very important because we can understand our triggers and our instincts, and we can change our triggers and our instincts. We can control them and change them into whatever we want as long as we've observed them enough. Once we've collected a whole bunch of observations about our astral body. And I think if you are doing these sort of self-awareness, self-remembrance practices, following emotions into their origin, into the astral body, and understanding the sort of organs or the body parts of the astral body and how they work and what they are, you will have a great deal of success at this time. For others who are not engaged in such ascetic practices, you will have a really good, just good vibes coming in, and you can use those good vibes to carry you forward in something you're working on. You'll have like a sense of joyousness that brings like new enthusiasm, and that coming from that enthusiasm will bring you success in your endeavor, in your current endeavor, whatever it is. So we have adversus, or opposition. Here we have like a lion and some spears pointing at him. Yeah, so it's not necessarily going to be so easy. You know, in order for there to be victory, there must be a challenger, right? What can you have victory over if there is no challenger? If there is nothing or no one to conquer, there is no victory. One of the yin-yang, dark, light, good, evil, happiness, sadness paradoxes or polarities of life is that you cannot have light without darkness, and you cannot have victory without enemies. So there is something with which there's something you can conquer, perhaps even someone. Maybe calling upon the assistance of the planetary spirit of Venus or those Venusian kind of energies. There's the theory that the Venusian energies are the next stage of human evolution on the Earth, that our planet will be sort of saturated with that sort of vibe in probably sometime within the next 2,000 to 6,000 years. The human race will achieve a type of Venusian status, right? Where, I don't know if you're familiar with UFO lore, but in the beginning in the 1880s, and then kind of still continuing today, but there are these beings, right? First they called themselves Agarthans in the 1880s, that they came from the inner earth. And then when we realized that no one lives in the inner earth, they started saying they're from the planet Venus. And then when we sent probes to Venus and saw that it's inhospitable, they started saying that they're from the Pleiades. I'm sure once we find out that no one lives in the Pleiades, they're going to start saying they're from somewhere else. But the point is these beings, they looked like relatively tall, white-skinned, blonde-haired, usually blonde-haired humans. They're in UFO lore, they're known as the Nordic types. In the 50s and 60s and 70s, they were called Venusians. Before that, they were called Agarthans. Today, we call them Pleiadians or Nordics. So I don't know who they are. They might just be people like who have mastered some occult sciences and abilities and use those abilities to engage in social engineering. Like they appear to some people and claim to be some highly advanced race, and they're here to help us, and this is the next step for human evolution. You know, they used to say a lot of things like, don't pollute the environment and don't nuke each other, right? did we really need Venusians and Pleiadians to tell us, like, to do those things? So whoever they are, they might be interdimensional beings, they might be psychic compensations and quasi-physical hallucinations caused by our own repressed guilt as to how we live on this planet, and it externalizes itself as actual paranormal phenomena that appear to be more advanced humans than us. But whatever it is, the point is this phenomenon, which carries physical traces and has a physical reality, is it is symbolic of our next stage of human evolution. And they used to be called Venusians. And according to the Rosicrucian tradition, the next stage of human evolution is called the Venus sphere, or the Venus world. It's not directly related to the planet Venus, but to these concepts of universal love and compassion, environmental stewardship, peacefulness, diplomacy, economic abundance, and generosity, those sorts of vibes. So overcoming the aspects of life that are opposite to that is important, and you can probably call upon those types of entities, whether they're just thought forms that came from our own subconscious, or if they're real beings, or if they're real humans that just pretend to be other beings because they're secretive about stuff and they just like to be social engineers. Whoever they are, they don't seem to be bad people. They seem to be quite helpful, in fact. So maybe working with that sort of energy, engaging with it a little bit, might give you some extra oomph on whatever it is you're doing, or just studying the history of the Agarthan, Venusian, Pleiadians, Nords, and seeing the different experiences that people have had with these entities. And because you'll find consistency when you study these reports and these stories, these books, these trance channelers, these people from the 1880s up to today who have had experiences in this realm with these beings. You'll find a lot of coherence and consistency in the things that these beings talk about. And they're all the virtues that I mentioned earlier, and that we are essentially destined to become like them in the next step here. And in order to do that, there's a lot that we have to overcome about the current world order, right? It's very violent, and oh yeah, I could complain about the current world order till the cows come home. You know what this world is. I don't need to explain these things to you. So finding the correct opponent, right? The correct adversary, and how to overcome it is going to be very fruitful for you. Following your instinct about like what an adversary is, even, and how to not misplace any sort of, what's the word for it? Because it's not hatred. That's not the word. Like we shouldn't hate our enemies. But to properly identify the enemy, right? We can blame the wrong people or the wrong energies for a problem that they're really not the cause of, because our view is clouded, because our emotions get the better of our logic, and we can cast blame at people or energies or parts of ourselves that are actually not to blame at all, might only simply be symptoms of the problem, or might not even be involved in the problem at all. So properly identifying the adversary by following your intuition, clearing out negative emotions, and coming from a place of heightened intuition by modulating a sense of joyfulness. I think at this time you can probably increase your intuition not only through like logical understanding, but by using like the heart center, the Venusian center of your body, to cultivate the feeling of joy, and that joy will expand your intuition and will help you see the true causes of a problem and allow you to conquer that problem. So I'm going to pull another token for you. One last thing for you, Sagittarius, to round this reading all out. What does Sagittarius need to know? So here we have the diamond and the number 11. Now the number 11 is a number of both unity and division. It's sort of the polarity of unity and division, and the oscillations between the two, separation and coagulation. The diamond is, perfect clarity, firmness, and strength. The I Ching hexagram, we had thunder, which is firmness and strength, also motion. So here we have just the idea of strength being reiterated. And yeah, just clarity of thought, clarity of mind, and just brilliance here. So yeah, this could, there could be a very important relationship in your life right now with this number 11. With I mean, there are some things about marriage here, Anael and victory and opposition, plus the number 11, plus a diamond ring. There's a lot here that indicates someone could be entering into a pretty good marriage, and can find the whole opposites attract thing, or finding out how you two can benefit each other through your differences. That's obviously not for everybody, but that's definitely here for some of you. That you've got a pretty good marriage in the cards, if that's something you're interested in. But more generally, this is like, just clearly identifying. So that feeling of joyousness is going to clear your mind. A lot of the time, to clear our minds, we have to clear our emotions and gain serenity and tranquility within ourselves, and enter into an emotionless state for proper meditation. But in this case, I think you should explore having a more joyful meditation, or cultivating a particular emotion, and see how that can clear your mind, how that can clear up misunderstandings and allow you to see things for what they are. Maybe that's the new innovation that you had to break into that chemistry lab to figure out, is a new type of self-awareness practice that you might invent on your own that works really well for you, that doesn't necessarily have to do with clearing emotion, but can utilize emotion to clarify the mind, or to cultivate certain mental states, and to create a firmness of character and a strength. Yeah, that's interesting. If that's the case, I'd like to know what it is. Let me know. All right, Sagittarius, I think that's where the Oracle and I are going to leave it for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I always appreciate you stopping by. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time.